Thank you for joining us at this hour. I'm Daniel Choy with your news updates. We begin with North Korea. The two Koreas exchange a brief exchange of fire they had across the military demarcation line in Paju earlier this Sunday. Seoul's Joint Chief of Staff says the incident took place at around 5:40 p.m. after roughly 10 North Korean soldiers were seen approaching the heavily fortified border. South Korea broadcast warning messages and then fired off several warning shots, and the North returned fire. The exchange of fire lasted around 10 minutes. The Joint Chief says North Korean soldiers also approached the border earlier in the day. There have been no reports of South Korean casualties as of yet. And prior to that incident today, the presidential office of Cheongwade expressed confidence that a planned round of inter-Korean talks will proceed as planned. Chu Cheol-gi, the senior secretary for foreign affairs and security at the presidential office, confirmed there will be a second round of talks. There had been concerns about the talks, with North Korea reportedly showing little to no interest in improving bilateral ties during general-level talks on October 15th at the border village of Panmunjom. Efforts to keep the momentum alive was evident in President Park Geun-hye's address at last week's Asia-Europe meeting in Milan, where she said Pyongyang could receive international aid and investment if it showed sincerity in addressing its nuclear program and human rights record. Chu added that Seoul is already making preparations for the high-level talks. North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has reportedly made his first military-related appearance since coming back into public view early last week. The North's media also showed Kim meeting with gold medalists from recent sporting events. Our Kim Min-ji reports on the leader's latest appearances.
North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is making regular public appearances following a prolonged absence that had the world wondering about what was going on in the North. The North's media reported Sunday that Kim inspected drills by fighter pilots in what marks his first military-related appearance since returning to the public eye on October 14th. The young leader guided a takeoff and landing drill by the fighter pilots from the Korean People's Army. It was not indicated when the event took place, but Kim was shown carrying a cane, just like in images of him released last week. Kim was said to have praised the pilots for their outstanding aviation skills and called for intense training to prepare for modern warfare. In a separate report, the North's media said the young leader met with gold medalists and their coaches from recent sporting events, including the Incheon Asian Games. Kim was seen shaking hands with the athletes and hosted a banquet for them. The leader was accompanied by his wife Lee Seol-ju and top officials including Hwang Byung-seo, the North's number 2. Kim's recent appearances come after an absence of some 40 days during which speculation mounted about his possible health problems and even a coup.
Through the resumption of Kim Jong-un's activities in the economic, military and social sectors, it seems that North Korea is trying to show that Kim's leadership has been normalized.
Last week, Kim gave field guidance at a residential complex for scientists and inspected a new apartment complex for educators. Kim Min-ji, ARIRANG News.
Turning now to the latest on the tragic incident that occurred in Korea on Friday when 16 people were killed and 11 injured after the ventilation grate they were standing on collapsed under their steps. They were gathered there to catch a glimpse of an outdoor K-pop concert at the first Pangyo Techno Valley Festival in Gyeonggi-do Province. Police on Sunday raided about a dozen places related to the accident, including the offices of the event organizer, the financial media outlet E-Daily, and the Gyeonggi Institute of Science and Technology Promotion. Police also raided the homes and vehicles of officials in charge of the event, and some were placed under travel bans. Inconsistencies in the event planning documents were discovered by police. The document said that 4 safety personnel would be on site at the event, but in fact, none of them were present at the time of accident. None of the roughly 38 staff members at the event had received any safety training. And following the accident at the Pangyo Techno Valley Festival over the weekend, the last week of the National Assembly audit, which starts Monday, will focus on safety issues in the country. Our Park Ji-won tells us more.
With another tragic accident dominating headlines, the National Assembly is expected to focus the final week of its annual inspection of government offices on safety issues. The final week of the audit gets underway on Monday, but the primary inquiries about the deadly accident will take place on Thursday, when the Assembly's Construction and Transportation Committee is expected to question the leadership of Gyeonggi-do, the province where the weekend's tragic accident occurred. The parliament will also tackle the issue of the highly contentious SEWOL-HO ferry disaster. A special joint task force comprising members of the ruling and opposition parties has been set up to address the issue. Its goal is to pass a special SEWOL-HO ferry bill by the end of this month, along with two other pieces of legislation related to the aftermath of April's ferry accident. The task force met for the first time on this Sunday to discuss the three bills. The ruling and opposition camps are divided over whether the victims' families should be a part of a process to designate a special prosecutor for the case, and whether the Korea Coast Guard should be dissolved. Park Ji-won, ARIRANG News.
The World Health Organization says it will make public a full review of its response to the deadly Ebola outbreak in West Africa once the crisis is under control. This after a leaked internal document described the WHO's response to the epidemic as botched. The WHO said the document was a first draft that had not been fact-checked or reviewed by its staff as part of its continuing review of the response. The UN Health Agency also said that the fight against Ebola goes beyond the WHO and called on countries to do more. The results of clinical trials for an experimental vaccine, which started at the Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in Maryland this month, are expected in December. According to the WHO, the vaccine showed promising results in early research. Moving on to other parts of our world, Hong Kong saw its second straight day of violent clashes on this Sunday as pro-democracy protesters continued their demonstrations. Beijing has signaled through Hong Kong's leaders that it won't reverse the decision in August that denies full democracy to the financial hub. So, unless there is a breakthrough at talks scheduled for Tuesday between the government and student protest leaders, or the government has worked out some kind of a compromise, the standoff could intensify. The student-led movement has continued for 3 weeks with few signs of losing momentum. Korea's southern port city of Busan is playing host to a major global conference on information and communications technologies. A day before the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference gets underway on Monday, ITU ministers gathered this Sunday to put the finishing touches on the ITU agenda. Our Song Ji-sun sends us this report from Busan.
Connect 2020. That's the organizing theme guiding the International Telecommunication Union as it heads into its plenipotentiary conference this year. It's a vision that highlights the role of information and communication technologies as a key enabler for social, economic, and environmentally sustainable growth and development. The conference starts Monday with discussions on the future role of ICTs and sustainable development with inclusive ICTs got underway on Sunday at the ICT ministerial meeting in Busan. Korea has been hosting this annual ministerial meeting since 2005, and Sunday's discussions are expected to lay the groundwork for this year's plenipotentiary conference, which starts just a day after this meeting.
Member states at PP14 will be setting an ambitious vision branded as Connect 2020, which will set out how they, in close cooperation and collaboration with all stakeholders. Today's ministerial meeting is both timely and meaningful, as it allows us to lay the foundation stones on which we can build the cooperation to achieve Connect 2020.
Including the 52 ministers that attended Sunday's ICT ministerial meeting, over 150 ministers and vice ministers of ITU member countries will gather here at BAEK for the ITU plenipotentiary, which kicks off its 3-week conference on Monday. Song Ji-sun, ARIRANG News, Busan.
Meanwhile, the Science Ministry is aiming to shift Korea's information and communication technology industry to one that is more software-centered. Speaking to foreign reporters in Busan on Sunday, Korea's second Vice Minister of Science, ICT and Future Planning Yoon Jong-lok said, now is a time for a paradigm shift in the ICT industry to software content and platforms. Yoon also said Korea will upgrade the ICT industry via collaborations with other R&D-based industries in which Korea excels, such as semiconductors and automobiles. Moving on to the world of sports, Baek Jung has clinched her first LPGA title ever. She reigned supreme on this Sunday at the LPGA KEB Hana Bank Championship in Incheon. Baek, her compatriot Chun In-ki and American Brittany Lincecum ended the regulation tied at 10 under and went back for the sudden death playoff hole. While her two competitors faltered, the 19-year-old calmly sank the putt for the win. Baek is now the 8th Korean champion of the tournament that began back in 2002 and takes home the $300,000 prize money. Park In-bi shot a 67 to finish at 9 under, one shy of the playoff. The world number 2 would have risen to the number 1 position if she had ended in second or in a three-way tie for third. Now the weather. Showers across the nation on Monday is in the forecast with up to 120 millimeters of rain expected in some areas. Cooler daytime temperatures lower than 14 degrees Celsius can be expected in the capital. Now let's take a look at the weather conditions in your neck of the woods and around the world. That's it from us. Thank you for watching and have a great start to your week.